Moving on. Thank you, Ian Rappaport. Let's move on to something substantive, somebody who actually could bench a lot. He is a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He has a very large
cool bust
jacket. All right, Orlando Pace was the first overall selection in the 1997 NFL Draft for the then St. Louis Rams. He has won a Super Bowl. He has a bust in Canton, Ohio, and he joins us live here on set on Up to the Minute in Indianapolis. Do you remember, Orlando, how many times you benched 225?
Wow, I was just having that conversation over there with Mac Starks, and I believe it was 24 times.
24. How many could you do now?
Probably 10, I would imagine. If that, then that's a stretch right there.
Well, I appreciate
like if you had to, you'd probably get to 15.
Probably so.
I appreciate the fact that you're here. I don't like to sit next to Silver. I'm kidding, of course. But if there was ever a way to get a barrier, it is one of the biggest and the best offensive linemen in the history of the National Football League.
I have no swim move anyway. So.
This is Quentin Nelson from earlier who put up 35. I mean, these guys train for this now.
Yeah, they do, and it's all about endurance. A lot of times you can't train for 35 reps of 225. So probably over the last month or so, I'm sure he and his strength coach and they worked their way up to that. But that kid's naturally strong.
Yeah, he's a beast. You're with the Legends community here, helping out these guys on their path to the draft. Tell me about what you're doing.
Well, we're here just mentoring. Obviously, I've been through this process, and these kids come into this process not really knowing what to expect. It's an interview. It's probably their biggest interview of their life thus far. So to be here and give them some insight, give them some mentors, things to look forward to, things to look out for, and just help them along their way.
I mean, I think the draft, a lot of times its impact is overstated, but I think back to your draft, it's great. You had a guy who was taken first overall at a position we all say is the most important, but then don't really, we pay a lot of lip service to that. He not only delivered, but, was better than anyone could have imagined. But what was it like to go from a team that was one of the worst in the league, and then you sign a quarterback, Trent Green, he goes down in training camp, and not only get good, but become one of the best offenses of all time and win a Super Bowl. Did you see that coming at all?
I did not. Honestly, when I was here at the Combine, when I was a rookie, I don't even think I interviewed with St. Louis. And they, a couple weeks before the draft.
You really didn't interview?
No, I can't remember having a conversation. Maybe we stopped and just said, hey, because they were picking.
Well, Dick would have cried. Dick would have cried. You would have remembered, yeah.
But, yeah, I know, a couple weeks they made that trade with the Jets, and then they moved up to number one. And then I took my visit. So, obviously, when you're drafted that high, the team's really not that good. So you don't know what to expect going into it, but a lot of losses. And those first couple years, we might have won 7 games in 2 years. And then that third year with Coach Vermeil, obviously, with the greatest show on turf and winning that championship, it was a remarkable feeling. So.
And I didn't see you get beat much, but was there a moment in your rookie year where you went up against someone and kind of went, whoa, this is the NFL?
Well, yeah, you don't know, because every week, and in college you may have some off weeks, but in the pros, every single week, those guys are coming after you. And I was like, wow, the speed of the game, the technique of the game, physically you couldn't dominate guys the way you could in college. So you had to be prepared week in and week out for those defensive ends.
What do you tell these kids? You said it's a job interview. Clearly, a lot of them have already gone through the Senior Bowl or the East-West Shrine Game. They've had personal trainers. They're all getting ready for this. And then, bam, they are on a stage. What's your advice?
Wow, just be honest and be yourself. I think the ball clubs do such a great job of scrubbing your social media, doing all these great things to figure out who you are as a kid. Just be honest, because they already know 90% of the stuff you're trying to hide anyway. So just go out and be yourself. They know from film study what type of player you are. They just want to get to know the person, the player.
You going to Canton this year for the annual induction? Because I don't know if you heard, but a couple of polarizing figures are going in. Is this going to be like one of the more interesting Hall of Fame weekends, you think?
I think so. I think they may have to start it a little early. I think some of those speeches are going to be long. We may be out there at 1 o'clock in the morning.
I think we were last year.
Exactly, because I think a lot of those guys have a story to tell, and I can't wait because I think I love to hear the stories and the journeys, but I'm sure there are going to be some interesting speeches this year.
I'll bet.
Yeah, has the title Hall of Famer Orlando Pace sunk in yet? It's been a couple of years.
Yeah. You know what? It has been a couple years, and I don't think it really. Sometimes I still have to pinch myself, or they give us a replica bus at home, so I have to look at that just to remind myself how special of a group that is.
Where is that in your house?
It is. It's in the hallway, but and my kids, they decorate it for Christmas. They do.
Did they even like put a Santa hat on it?
That's awesome. So they love it, man. So
it's a pretty good bus. They did a nice job there. You know,
they did a really good job.
Sometimes I look at it and I go, I'm not so sure. But
yeah. And then my family, they're tired of me wearing my gold jacket around. They're like, will you take that thing off?
What size is that jacket?
I'm normally a 54 extra long, but that's kind of
same as yours.
Right. No. For me, that's called a bedspread. That's a comforter, actually, at my house.
That's it.
In fairness, we were calling him future Hall of Famer Orlando Pace like in 2005. So it's all we did is take a word off the title.
Absolutely.
Last thing, the pressure of being number one. In all likelihood, this year it's a quarterback. It might be a running back, but it's likely a quarterback, which I know it's a different set of pressures than what an offensive lineman felt. But regardless, I mean, every eye is on you.
Absolutely. And when I was drafted in '97, number one in the St. Louis Rams, going there, expectations, fans they didn't get the, hey, he's a left tackle. He's not going to really change our franchise that much because everybody's looking for that quarterback to really, bring that change to court. So, obviously all eyes, and it worked out in a couple of years. We won the Super Bowl, so I'm excited about that.
I think at that very moment, your quarterback was stocking shelves on the night shift at the Hy-Vee supermarket in Cedar Falls. Yeah, which tells you all you need to know. The draft can be transformational in his case, but then the quarterback who ended up being the guy wasn't even mentioned.
I want to do something here. So Orlando and I, for those who don't know, many years ago in St. Louis did a summer worth of Rams preseason games. And somewhere in my phone, thankfully we don't have the picture, but there's a picture of you and me doing a post game. We'll call it a stand-up. You are sitting on the desk in our booth. I am standing up on 2 feet. You are still much taller than me. So can we do this? Can we, because L.A. has said they want to do this, can we do like the circus act and stand up here? Will you do this for me? Because I am more than willing to embarrass myself on live television. We'll get Mike Silver in here for comparison. How tall are you?
About 6'8".
Okay. So this is kind of like a vaudeville act.
I've never felt such a short 6'2". I mean, that's not good.
I stood next to Calais Campbell at an event Saturday in Kansas City, and it didn't feel like this. And he's 6'7". So thanks for helping embarrass me, Orlando Pace.
And you keep that jacket on as much as you want.
Absolutely.
You earned it.
Absolutely.
He's the best.